Good afternoon and welcome to the June 20th regular meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. What is the first item on the agenda?
First item is roll call. Commissioner Scarpetian?
Here.
Khan?
Here.
Patrick?
Here.
Sharkey?
Here.
President Rob Fogel.
Here.
The agenda for the June 20th, 2011 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on Wednesday, June 15th, 2011. Item 2, introductions and presentations. At A, presentation by Dee Dee Hirsch, Mental Health Services.
Welcome.
I'm Janine Perrin. I'm the Director of Grant Services at Dee Dee Hirsch, and I'd like to present my colleague, who is the Program Director for Adult Services, and Marina Ghazalian. Thank you for allowing us to address you today. We really appreciate having this opportunity. So I'm here today to discuss our Glendale Center. It's gone funny. Ooh.
Yes, it has.
My goodness, it's kind of bilious there. Excuse me one moment, technical difficulties
Sure.
here.
Does it look all green to you?
No, it looks perfectly fine to me. I think it's you.
Far cry from rose-colored glasses.
Something's
here.
wrong.
No, I insist on color fidelity. I mean,
I've never seen that before, otherwise I'd try and help.
yeah.
It's probably the camera, the projector rather.
Yeah, it is.
And my guess is that when it shows on GTV6, it will not be that way.
Okay, well,
Well,
we'll just go forward with.
Sure.
green.
Let's call it a special effect.
No, I actually turned it off. There it is. It's still green. Sorry.
Oh, it is what it is. Okay. So, we're here to discuss our Glendale Center. Dee Dee Hirsch actually just began managing and operating the center on May 21st. So this is Verdugo Mental Health, an image just before we actually assumed operations. And when Verdugo started to experience some financial difficulties, it was pointing to a real crisis in the community. I mean, essentially, you know, they've been around for 54 years, doing some incredibly good work with low-income clients, about 2,000 of them. 28% of them are Armenian, and so there was a cultural care was really being provided at a very high level in the Armenian language. And many of these clients live in Glendale, 45%, and actually about 69% live in the Verdugos. So, you know, we were looking at a difficult situation. The Department of Mental Health was very concerned that, you know, with Verdugo Mental Health going under, that there wouldn't be anybody to take care of these clients. And I also mentioned here that we have, there were a lot of school-based services. So then, basically, we stepped in And D.D. Hirsch Mental Health Services was founded in '42, so it's been around for quite a long time. It's a very solid organization. It has an operating budget of over $26 million, and we have 11 centers all over LA County, actually, and now one in Orange County. So Culver City, we've got our headquarters, we've got Culver Palms, Inglewood, Metro Center is in downtown near MacArthur Park. We've also got a couple in South Los Angeles, and now in Glendale, also in Santa Ana, and lastly, we have a residential treatment facility for women and children in Pacoima. So what's nice about Glendale Center is it's actually positioned kind of midway between a couple of different centers that we have. And so we provide a full range of services. I mean, basically, we start out with, medication and therapy for people. Therapy is in, kind of ranges from the kind of outpatient services to more intensive services. It's what we call a full-service partnership for people who've endured kind of repeated hospitalizations and are having some real difficulties with their mental health. And we work closely with like CalWorks to help people who are having problems working because of mental illness. So, and it's all low-income clients. We also do substance abuse treatment and education and crisis residential care. So we have the only 28-day crisis residential program in LA County. So for somebody who has had real difficulties, they can go there and get treatment. Another thing we do is suicide prevention. This is a huge aspect of what we do. We have one of the largest crisis centers in California, and we take many, many crisis calls every year. We also do things like bereavement services for the survivors of suicide, the families, and other people who are affected by people who have died by suicide. And a real important aspect of what we do, what we focus on, is this notion of recovery, that we believe that no matter where you are in the kind of spectrum of mental illness, that you can reintegrate into the community to a greater or lesser degree, but we're going to help you get there. We're going to give you the skills and help build you up, get you employment and housing. So it's a very supportive environment. And part of how we do that is through what we call wellness centers. And our wellness centers, we have them right now at our headquarters in Sepulveda and in Inglewood. And that's a kind of psychosocial clubhouse where people can come and learn and grow and have other people with them as they move toward recovery. So this just gives you an idea of the scale of what we do. We serve 72,000 clients. And as you can see, many of them come to us through our crisis line.
Are those unduplicated clients?
Yes. Yes. So, the kind of mental health and substance abuse services, that's, the kind of therapy, the work with the families, and then we also do education and prevention in the schools. We make presentations. We do parenting classes to help people be better parents. So, yeah, these are unduplicated numbers.
Wow.
And this gives you an idea of the kind of results that we get. This is looking at our clients who have had the most difficulties. This is intensive outpatient services. And if you look at the red line, that's where they are in terms of before they've gotten some treatment. We're looking at very high numbers in terms of homelessness, folks who've been incarcerated. And then following treatment, you can see that's a real sharp decline. So it's something we're very proud of. So we're delighted to be in Glendale now. And we're also proud to have saved 50 jobs in the community. So we rehired most of the employees as D.D. Hirsch employees, and Marina's one of them. And so we're kind of in a new world now in Glendale. And what we're doing is we're not just sustaining services. We are sustaining, obviously, critical services, but we're also adding some services. So, for instance, we worked it out with the Department of Mental Health, so we have contracts to provide different kinds of services than were provided before to children. We're also going to be expanding into more schools. Like right now, we're in more schools in Alhambra than we are in Glendale, but we're going to be in more Glendale schools shortly. The other thing that we're doing is hiring more bilingual Spanish, English-speaking counselors so that we can make a more effective inroads in the Latino community. But we are preserving things like making sure that the Armenian parents and grandparents groups continue. So it's a very, it's been a very thoughtful process. And basically in adult services, we're going to continue to provide a full continuum of care. And we are going to have a wellness center at Glendale. So what I was talking about earlier with kind of the employment and the housing services and the classes, skill building classes, all of that we're going to be bringing to Glendale. And then in terms of what we need to do right now what we're very focused on is making sure that the facility is sound and that our clinicians are highly trained. And I wanted to thank the commission. I know you were involved when the building was being built. There have been a couple of problems, and so that's what we're remedying right now. So we're making sure all the technology is up to date, the roof needs to be worked on, and there are some soundproofing issues for the privacy of the clients. So all of that is unrolling right now, and so that's where we are. It's an exciting time, and we're looking forward to being in the community. And thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
First of all, thank you very much for coming today. A couple things. Is Dee Hirsch an actual person, or is it a company that you guys put together?
Dee Hirsch was a person,
I see.
And she was very involved with us as both a philanthropist, but also she'd been trained as a social worker, and she was very involved with the center, and so we named it in honor of her.
Okay. And then you acquired or took over responsibilities in the building for Verdugo Mental Health.
Yes.
So all of the clients, and you mentioned almost all of the employees, you guys absorbed.
Yes.
Okay. And in terms of your funding, where's most of your funding coming from?
We are largely funded by the Department of Mental Health. We also have contracts with the Department of Public Health. Those tend to be for substance abuse. And Department of Rehabilitation provides funding to us for employment services. And then we also do private fundraising. And that's something that we're working very hard. You know, as an agency, we're working to diversify our funding streams. So we're looking to get more foundation grants, more individual gifts.
Great. Thank you.
Yes. Again, thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it. You indicated schools. What are your roles in schools? What do you provide in schools, and what is the age limit? Is it elementary? Is it middle school? Is it high school? And a two-part question. What is the age limit of your adults that they use your services?
The age, you mean like the upper age limit?
Right.
I know we do have older adults. I don't know that there's an upper age limit. I think there actually isn't an upper age limit. My recollection is that we've said in the past that we've served folks, you know, as old as they come. So in terms of the schools, we have therapists that are on site at various times. I was just thinking about a Taper School in South LA, or excuse me, at the Taper Center. If you go to the Bakewell School, our therapists go over there and actually do treatment with the kids during the school hours, and that makes sure that they can kind of get the services they need. And, you know, they can be kind of disruptive when they're having issues, so taking them out of that environment, giving them the kind of help they need, helps them get along. And we also do substance abuse presentations in the schools.
That's very important. Thank you.
I just want to welcome you to the community. Verdugo Mental Health was here for a long time and played a very important role, and so it's really exciting to see you come in and take their place. So welcome and thank you.
All right, I commend you. It's a challenging illness, and thanks for being there.
I'm very familiar with Dee Hirsch because I grew up in Culver City.
Ah.
And I went to Culver City schools, so I know you've been around for a long time. No, I wasn't. I know that wasn't me.
Around in 1942 when they started.
No, not quite. But so I'm very familiar with the good work you do. And next time you have a fundraiser or something, especially if it's in the local area, be sure to get our addresses, our city addresses, and send the invitations to City Hall, and those of us that can participate, I'm sure will.
Absolutely.
It's great work you do.
And we would love to have your guidance as we sort of continue to grow in the community.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so what is next?
Item 3, Commission staff comments.
Ladies?
All right. I guess I'll start. I just wanted to mention the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation was so delighted to donate buses for local city schools here, Jefferson, Edison, I believe it was Franklin. They were fourth grade science classes, and we bused them up to Deukmejian Wilderness Park for a walk on the wild side. And so what they learned in the classroom, they got to see actually the plate tectonic, the mountains. And the Glendale News Press had their headline, Owl Barf and Volcanoes. so the kids were really fascinated by every single program. And I must commend the park naturalist and Jeff Weinstein. Those kids were so happy. It's a program I hope we can keep. And I heard comments like best day ever, and it was just a fantastic day. It was such happy kids, and they didn't want to leave, and it was great. And I hope I don't get anyone in the news press in trouble, but when the reporter and the photographers want to do the bottle rockets describing how volcanoes work, I think it's a great program. So, it was. They were great days for the kids in Glendale. So, I just wanted to say that. So, I'm done.
Patrick?
I have no comments today.
No?
Well, I wanted to report that I attended the Pacific Community Pool opening, and it was a great event. And I'd like to add that our president, Mr. Rob Fogel, was the MC, and he's done a remarkable job. I want to thank the City Council and the staff and everyone involved for making that dream a reality. And I think it's a great addition to our community. I also attended the Angelinos baseball opening. It was a great event, good attendance, and good hot dogs, and the food was awesome. My kids loved it. And I'm looking forward to more games to attend, and it was a great event. Thank you.
I just want to echo what you said about the pool opening. I think that is a day, I think that's going to be probably the highlight of the year, especially for the kids in the southern part of Glendale and for the kids all over the city. That's a great facility, something that not only the commission, but I'm sure the city council and everybody should be very proud of. And we've got 2 more parks opening in the next 2 weeks, and we're very excited about that also. So that's all I have. What is next?
Item 4, oral communications.
I have no cards.
I don't either. Item 5, consent items. 5A, approval of the minutes of the commission regular meeting held on May 16, 2011.
And can we read B in at the same time and do them both at the same time?
Certainly. B, approval of the minutes of the commission special meeting held on May 26, 2011.
So moved.
Second.
Is there,
I wasn't here
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
the second meetings or the special meetings, so
Okay.
I'll
have to do
approve
one at a
the
time.
minutes of
so
the first
we
meeting.
have to do one at a time. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
about that.
Okay. So for the May 16th meeting, I'll take roll call. Commissioner Garpetian?
Before you do, we
Move
actually
to-
didn't have a second.
Yes, we did. I second.
Oh, I didn't hear
Yeah.
you. I'm sorry.
So Garpetian moved, seconded by Patrick. Commissioners Garpetian?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Khan?
Yes.
Sharkey?
Yes.
President Rotfogel?
Yes.
Item B, approval of the minutes of the commission special meeting held on May 26, 2011.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioners Garpetian?
Yes.
Khan?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Sharkey?
Abstain.
And President Rotfogel.
Yes.
Item 6, business agenda. 6A, action items. At 1, motion to approve the proposed float design for the 2012 Pasadena Tournament of Roses Parade.
Okay.
Do we have somebody from the?
Chris, or somebody else?
Is there somebody from the Rose
Somebody
Float
from the
Committee?
Rose Float here?
Yes.
Come on.
Commissioners. Hi, my name is Chris Lofthouse, and I'm with Phoenix Decorating Company, and we have had the honor for probably the past 25 years to be involved with the City of Glendale. And we have been the contractor to build the float for the Rose Parade those years. And we have a proposed design this year that has been approved by the Glendale Rose Float Association. We have not titled it yet, but this design caught their eye, and so this is the approved design for the 2012 Tournament of Roses Parade. Are you aware of the theme of this year's parade?
Just Imagine, yeah.
And I've got a poster to show you, to give you an idea of what, this is the official poster from the Tournament of Roses, and this is the theme of this year's parade.
Nice.
Okay, great. So after reviewing multiple designs, we usually go to 20 or 30 different designs and discussion and things that vehicles that not only show, we've been done many floats, and a lot of the floats have depicted the city of Glendale, and sometimes the floats have just gone through the parade. The city of Glendale always is well represented on the side of the float, so sometimes the float represents just a great theme and in the spirit of the Rose Parade, and that's being the city of Glendale sign on the side of the float. The city of Glendale is always well represented. The fact that sometimes you don't have to sell the city to the people. Sometimes you just put a great float down the parade route and you have your name on the side, and people appreciate it and appreciate your city. So without any further ado, I'd like to present to you the design of the 2012 Tournament of Roses Parade. It features the large elephant towing the calliope, riders on the float. There are 10 riders on the float, which has been very important to the community. We've had community involvement with people with contests and people being able to ride on the float. The great part of this project is that in the last, especially 10 years, has been the community involvement and the fact that many of your youth come down and they help decorate the float, and this float is something that the community can rally around and take ownership of. It's a great way to bring a lot of pride to the community.
Are there any questions?
No, I love it.
It's a very colorful design.
It's colorful. I can imagine riding an elephant, or imagine being in a parade, or that.
And we haven't titled it yet, but that certainly is that's something that the committee is still talking about, and that we can actually. That's another great way to bring the community in, and maybe we can have a contest on what to name the float.
And I've seen the kids working on it, and there's just a great spirit, camaraderie.
Great community involvement project.
Yeah, so.
I had a question, and I don't think it's for you, Chris. I think it's more for staff. So I'm going to kind of look towards the staff and see who responds to the question.
George.
There was an article in today's news press, and I printed it out, and it talked about the Rose float on the chopping block. And there's some discussion about, and I understand this is a design approval or design recommendation we're giving, but there's also some costs associated with that as well. And so trying to understand, that's a beautiful design that looks good in my opinion, but in terms of it being able to be funded is a different issue. And then also in this article, and I'm not saying that this article was accurate or was inaccurate, it talked about the possibility of changing the float's focus in order to qualify for some of this funding. So who can speak to that?
President Rob Fogel, Commissioners, Ross Ferris, Community Services Manager. The budget budget review on June 8th, the City Council talked in depth about the Rose Float and the budget for it. And basically, they approved $49,000 that the city would put up and fund the float. They approved another $50,000 that would go in the budget, but the Tournament of Roses, the Rose Float Committee, would have to reimburse the city that amount sometime next spring. They normally have done it in April or May. The council also reduced or eliminated any city staff support to take care of the administrative process for the Rose Float. That amount was approximately $31,000. The council also moved the monies, the budget monies, from the Community Services and Parks Department to the Community Development Department. The Community Development Department will now oversee those funds. Commissioner Khan, in answer to your question, the paper was referring to the emphasis of the float in the future on what it could do for Glendale. That's coming from the Community Development Department. They want to make sure, they want to focus on, you know, what is the float doing to talk about Glendale.
Okay.
That's kind of the new budget department's focus. The Rose Float Committee was appraised of these actions by the council, and they have indicated that they will not be able to come up with the $50,000 by next May or at all to give that back to the city, and they do not feel that their members can handle the administrative processes that are involved. We have prepared a instruction manual, for lack of a better word, which I have a copy here. And this is a step-by-step how you handle the functions of administering the Rose Float, everything from the memos, setting up photo day, getting checks cut, picking up tickets, etc. As of right now, our director, Jess Duran, has been made aware of this, and he has informed the city manager's office, and they are talking about it. We don't know, I don't know, staff doesn't know what the final decision will be, because the final budget, they're having a meeting today. The budget will be finalized next week. I'm sure this will be discussed tomorrow night at the council meeting. Yes, the newspaper did have the article. There's been some other press comments on it. So we wanted to go through with the design today and the process, because the process is not over. The final decision has not been made. That's where we stand right now.
Well, I appreciate the explanation, because it makes sense for us to be able to move forward, hoping it gets the funding, because if it does, it needs to be expedited. I'm assuming we need to move forward as quick as we can.
Yes, the contract, if we're going to move forward, the contract does need to be signed quickly.
Right. And if it doesn't get the funding, then so be it. It doesn't get the funding.
Right.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to say I got a call just before the meeting from Councilman Weaver. He would have liked to have been here, but he's in the budget sessions. But he already has $20,000 pledged. I couldn't hear him really well. I thought he said another $20,000 coming from somewhere. I'm not sure it was Dreaming of Roses. He was encouraged by the press coverage, because press coverage is always good. So he was quite optimistic and felt good about it, and was sorry he couldn't be here. So.
Great.
If this goes through like council is proposing, where it would be transferred to community development, and the focus would then want to be more on encouraging visits to Glendale, or
And promoting the business
Glendale.
community, yes.
Would that take place this year, or would we still move ahead with what we approved today and it would then take place the following year.
My belief is that you have been presented with the design, and your approval will be this year's float.
Okay.
This is effective July 1st.
Right.
It is in the budget as of July 1st. Now, being that the float is a 2012 float in the 2012 budget, I could be mistaken. But as of right now, you are the governing body as far as the design approval.
Okay.
I think also if it changed substantially, I think potentially it could be brought back to us if we are the final body. For instance, if there's, significant signs or something, whatever that may be, I would assume that they could potentially bring it back. Is that correct?
I would think so, yes.
However, if it moves to community development, then at some point we cease being involved
Correct.
with the float.
Correct. I don't know. I truly don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, today it's being presented here, effective July 1st. If that is approved on June 28th as part of the budget, it will go to community development. Whether community development would ask for a new design, I don't know, because I don't think they've seen this one.
I just want to say that I was at the meeting where this design was selected, and we looked at a lot of designs, and I've been at this meeting for 2 years. In both years, there was a lot of discussion about how this relates back to Glendale. I know that's been something that's been brought up in the past. And because of the theme this year, the Imagine That theme, there's just so many directions that you can go. And this particular one just kind of, I guess, seized the imagination of the people that were there because of the elephant and the circus and just what it's like when the circus comes to town. So it's a beautiful float, and I certainly hope that we can figure out how to make it happen.
Well, there'll be lots of discussion in the next 2 days.
Okay.
Thank you.
My only comment is, in hindsight being 2020, thinking about last year's float, and then if we go forward, I'd like this comment to maybe be affected how we go forward for following years. It was an interesting float last year, but what I think would have made it more community relative also would be if we would have had some sort of contest since it had a photographic theme, of 6 pictures that community members had taken from around Glendale, that we did as a photo board in flower and seed and things like that. And I know that can be done because a couple of different organizations had pictures of people on their floats. I think that's one of the things that would capture the imagination of the citizens of Glendale, if they could have something where they could add to the float in that way. And I know it has to fit the theme, and I know that makes it difficult, but more than just having 10 riders, we need to do whatever we can in the future to get the imagination, to use this year's word, of the citizens of Glendale, and have it be something that everybody in the community works on and has a buy-in on, and then council would find it, I think, more difficult to cut it, because it's a significant amount of money, but in and of itself, if citizens of Glendale have bought into it, it's not going to break the budget in itself. And that would be my only comment. I love this year's design, but we need to do something that captures the imagination of as many people in Glendale as possible in the future. I think that, yes.
Yes, I have a comment and a question. Commissioner Patrick answered my question somewhat, but this is for Chris. I wanted to know, the float represents Glendale and relates to Glendale. It's a great design, it's very colorful, very nice. Wanted to know what has inspired this design. I mean, what took place to come up to this design, basically?
The way we present, and the Glendale Rose Float Association saw roughly 30 to 40 different designs, and we have many designs in stock. The imagination of our designers never stops, and they're always drawing. And so what I tell a lot of my clients that look at float designs is a lot of times don't, and the committee has learned this, and don't necessarily try to think of the Glendale side of it. When you're looking at designs, pick designs that catch your eye, and pick designs that you think people are going to enjoy and like, and then let's talk about and back into how that applies to the city of Glendale. And that's how they picked this design. It was a very colorful, and it just caught a lot of people's eyes, and then we started talking about, okay, well, it's a good rider float, and so we backed into how we can apply different aspects of this to the city of Glendale. You know, I'd like to also add, you know, the city of Glendale, this is going to be their 98th entry, so there's a lot of tradition here, and to your, Commissioner, to your comments on how we take this into the future, I think that just even with this design in this year and in the last many years, that the community involvement, especially with the decoration of the float and the fact that the community was able to come down and participate in the project, really adds to the ownership of the float for the city of Glendale.
Okay. Is there any animation on the float?
The wheels on the calliope do turn.
Okay.
So yes, there is animation on the float. So we want to.
And all of the riders are inside the calliope?
No, not necessarily. We have riders on top of the calliope. We were talking about maybe putting 2 more riders in the back, very similar to the way that you see the 2 riders up here.
Those are actual riders?
They're actual riders. Hopefully in costume, hopefully in the spirit of the design of the float.
Great. Another question?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I think that the paper this morning said in that 98 years that Glendale has been in the Rose Float, we've brought home awards 51 of those years. You have the article in front of you. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
And we're number 2 as far as participation goes.
Yes. So this has really been part of the historical context of Glendale, and it's been a very important part. And it's a hard decision. I'm sure council is struggling with the tradition versus the real difficulty that all cities are facing with budgets right now. But I think it's a wonderful design, and we'll just keep plugging forward.
Okay.
If it works out.
Anything else?
Well, you'll make a motion?
So I'll make a motion, yes, that we, what is the motion? That we approve the design of the Rose Float.
I'll second it.
2012.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay.
Commissioners Garpetian,
Yes.
Khan,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
President Ralph.
Yes. Okay, what is next?
6B, reports for information only. At 1, budget update. I'd like to call up Teresa Alexanian, Administrative Analyst.
Good afternoon, President Ralph, members of the Commission, staff, and the community watching at home. My name is Teresa Alexanian, Administrative Analyst for the Community Services and Parks Department. I'm here on behalf of Jess Duran, our Director, who would have loved to make this presentation himself, but he is upstairs in the budget study session that Ross referenced earlier. He asked me to provide a brief update. I believe you have 3 schedules in front of you, and the first one is a summary of the proposed resources and appropriation estimate. It's a general overview of the general fund and the $18 million shortfall that we had to address this year. The city as a whole has taken a different approach this year to the budget. And part of it is increase in revenues, and obviously the second half is going to have to be decreases in expenses. And the proposed strategies outline the different methods the city as a whole has taken to address the $18 million shortfall, whether it's increase in the electric fund transfers or police augmentation funds, use of fund balance, outsourcing, consolidation, employee concession cuts, elimination of hardware, software budgets, and amongst the different methods was approximately $5 million in program cuts. So this year, we were asked to break down the general fund budget into program and function budget. So each department was asked to break down their general fund budget into different programs, functions, or services that they offer. This was a team approach, and it was a participatory process involving administrators, managers, analysts, budget specialists. What we did is we broke down our programs and services into essential, priority, and discretionary. And the discretionary items were essentially what are on the program reduction schedule. And the third schedule is what the programs that are remaining. And I believe the information is available for all departments. We had to lean on the general guiding principles in the process, which were to look at our services and programs that we offer and look in the community to see if, obviously looking at our core services, if there were other organizations or nonprofits that would be able to provide certain services that we would be cutting, because we all think that all the programs we offer are essential and priority, but unfortunately we had to make the decision and categorize them accordingly. So as a whole, the city can look and council can make a decision as to which programs we would like to eliminate, with the hopes of bringing some back when the economy improves. And so one of the things we looked at was whether other organizations are providing it. We also had to preserve our ability to maintain safe, secure, and well-maintained parks and facilities, so that was one of our priorities. Also to maintain safe, secure, and adequately staffed community centers, providing programs and service levels that serve the greatest numbers in the densest neighborhoods, serving the segments of population that would be most at a loss without services. So that was another thing we try to keep in mind in categorizing our programs. We also identify programs as discretionary that could be considered enhancements of some of our more core service programs. And so the list that you have in front of you on Schedule 2 are the programs that have been proposed and council has preliminary voted to, I guess, they've approved these cuts for now, but not final approval. Well, we have a public hearing tomorrow, and council will make a final decision and approve the budget on the 28th. Our department budget is $28 million, approximately $28.4 million. Our general fund portion of our total budget is, our department budget is $12 million, which, and the amount of cuts that our department will have to incur is $1.4 million. And this is net of the $50,000 revenue that for the Rose Float that Ross mentioned earlier. Or it's not net of, I'm sorry, net of the $50,000 would be $1.3 million. We had 70 program budgets, so when we identified all the programs and functions for our department, we had 70 program budgets, and 29 of those are on the discretionary list. It was a tough decision, and all the departments, initially had to categorize their programs and services according to the essential, priority, and discretionary. And this unfortunately is what our department, the Community Services and Parks Department, is faced with for the next year. Again, this isn't final. This is preliminary as proposed. So council will make a final decision and vote on the budget on June 28th.
So our total cut is about 1.4 million?
Yes, it's 1.4 million.
Out of 28?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it me, or are we taking the biggest hit?
5%, basically.
Yeah, Parks is, and it's way over. And I understand we need police and fire and utilities, but it's a big hit.
Is in our enterprise funds, Do we have any money that can take care of any of
Well,
these?
the programs that actually have 501 in parentheses next to them, and I know on some of them it's cut off and you might not be able to see the total, the entire name, but some of them are being transferred. About $245,000 worth of programs are being transferred into our enterprise fund. So they're being moved from the general fund to the enterprise. So some of the programs are saved in that aspect because they'll be funded with the enterprise fund.
So, for example, of the ones that we can see, the day camps, the adult sports, parents' night out, those are being transferred to the enterprise fund.
Right. So it's the day camp, and I think I have a complete list here that shows it's the day camps, the facility rentals for Pacific and Maple, contract classes for Brand Spar Pacific, adult sports, aquatics contract classes, and Spar Parent Night Out. So those are being transferred into the 501, which is the enterprise fund.
And I appreciate your comments. Are we losing staff, or are we cutting programs? Are we doing both? I mean, how's it working out? What's the highlights or
It's
lowlights,
both.
if you will?
We will be losing about 5 or 6, and it's not final yet, but about 5 or 6 full-time filled positions, which means layoffs, and the rest will be in hourly staff. It's total full-time equivalents. It's 14.6 bodies. So 5 or 6 of those will be full-time. The rest will translate into hourly staff, and hourly staff only work, or most of them are capped at the 1,250 hours. So it depends on which how many total hours it adds up to know the exact number of bodies that will be cut. So even though it's 14.6 full-time equivalents, that could equate more than just 14 bodies with all the hourly cuts. But it is 5 or 6 full-time filled positions.
And those people would not go somewhere else. They would actually leave the city.
Correct. They would actually be laid off.
I think that I speak for a couple of people at least a couple of people on the commission, when at the open space and trails, that's going to do away with all of our programs up at Duke Machen then?
I believe so. The trails will be open and available for the public to access, but programming will no longer be available. And I'm not sure. I mean, at the end, we have to all regroup and try to figure out what we can do, what we have left, and we could try to see if we have any resources available in the recreation center or with different staff that we have available to pick up some of that if we can. But we're already cutting so much and losing so much staff that I don't know that we're going to be able to continue to provide such services or programs.
It would be a shame to lose that.
Well, even like the aquatics, I'm assuming, because we just opened the Pacific Park pool, I'm assuming that's been opened and going to be programmed, but it looks like for CV and for Glendale High that's not going to be.
Correct. Because we have Pacific open, the other 2 pools we won't have available, so we'll have a pool on the south and a pool on the north.
So you're trying to strategically keep things open throughout.
We're trying to
Makes sense.
service the entire community. So because we have the Pacific pool, which is a new facility that just opened up in southern Glendale, we're trying to operate that and close some of the other ones. So.
Now, do we know if the school district is going to take over any at those 2 pools, or we just don't know?
No. I can call up Gabrielle, our supervisor. She's more knowledgeable in that area. But
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Golia, Community Services Supervisor. At this point in time, the school district is not going to be picking up the recreation and lesson portion of the programs at Glendale and Crescenta Valley High School pools. Quite honestly, the amount of time that we got at those pools was very limited anyways due to their scheduling of their water polo and swim team practices. So they've extended their programming to fill the hours that we typically would have used. But we, in return, have actually increased some of our hours at Hoover High School pool to maximize the number of lessons in rec swim that we can offer there. So we've tried to make up for it, and we did hold registration last weekend and throughout the week at Pacific Community Center for both of the pools. And we are about 90% full of all of our classes, but we do even still have a little bit of room left. So we feel like we've been able to meet the needs of the community for the lessons especially.
Thank you.
So I just counted. Basically, we're losing about 29 programs, except the ones with 501 that gets transferred. Okay.
Total of 29 programs, and I think 6 or 7 of those are being transferred to the 501.
Very unfortunate.
Well, some of them, like the music, the movies, music, and more, wasn't that done with donations primarily anyway? Or not completely?
Not completely.
Partially, but not completely.
I don't.
Okay.
It just wasn't enough. It wasn't bringing in enough revenue to cover the program itself, so it wasn't.
But what happens to the programs like steam cleaning or clean up citywide events? What happens to those? We're not going to do any of that in the city?
You're partially right. The steam cleaning will only be done at a facility if it's absolutely necessary by park staff for our own or for the park's patrons' well-being. No more steam cleaning of memorials, sidewalks, statues, fountains, nothing like that anymore. Unless somebody has an account number to give me, I'm not going to be steam cleaning anymore.
How about Civic Auditorium?
It won't be any cleaning at all unless there's an account number given to me. Unfortunately, that's how I have to go now. I can't. The cuts that were made translate into bodies and dollars. So if I relinquish and do these things, then I'm still getting the cuts and I'm still using the bodies. I can't do that way. I have to. If the cuts is if the city council approves the cut, and it's in the budget that way, then I have to go that route. Otherwise, I'll be spending money to do the job, and I won't be given the money to do the job. So I'm losing on both ends. I'm losing the labor, and I'm losing the material money. As far as special events, a lot of them have been cut. Winter Wonderland's been cut. A lot of those ones that I would be servicing, setting up and tearing down would be cut. The cruise night is still on, and that will be paid for through another account number for the workers that work. But there's going to be some kind of consequence for anybody who's doing that event during their regular work hours, because that's how we have to do some of that work. So we're going to be tracking those hours and seeing where it hits. It's we don't know yet. We just don't know what we'll be able to do.
And Gary, I think one of the things that you mentioned just in passing were like the monuments and things like that you clean. I didn't realize until I got on the commission that Gary's department is not only in charge of that, but all of the parkways in town, all of the other things. That there are areas in town that you don't think of as being parks, but our department takes care of as far as, mowing those median strips down, Brand or Glendale Avenue or and other places where we have them, cleaning monuments, cleaning just other facilities. So I think that the impact is going to be wide felt, more than just at the physical parks.
We used to take it upon ourselves to start at 5 or 4:30 in the morning, go out to Montrose Mall and do the memorial over there, do the one at the City Hall, do fountains on Maryland, do the back door when the tree dropped its droppings behind the City Hall, do the Glendale sweet shoppy or the yogurt shop in Montrose Mall by the memorial where they spill stuff. And we would just take it upon ourselves to do those things when we needed to do that, and we're doing them on a monthly basis, and that won't be happening, unfortunately.
Any other questions or comments?
How many employees do we have right now?
I believe it's have that number. I believe it's approximately 154 general fund full-time employees, approximately 70 grant fund full-time employees, and 200 part-time employees, approximate.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Good job. Tough times.
What is next?
Item 6B2, Annual Report of Skate Park Programming.
President Rob Fogel, members of the commission, my name is Adam Porte. I'm a community services specialist and I manage the Verdugo Skate Park. I'm here to present the program evaluation of the Verdugo Skate Park. The skate park, as you know, it operates year-round from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday. That's when the kids are in school. When the kids are out of school, we're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Daily. And then also on Saturdays and Sundays, we're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We have a kids session in the morning on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to noon. It's ages 14 and under. It's primarily a drop-in facility for skateboarders and inline skaters. A lot of the programs that we offer are also drop-by programs. We offer a few different types of skateboard classes at the facility. We offer drop-by skateboard lessons, which we offer on Mondays and Wednesdays for beginners. On Thursdays is for intermediates, and those are from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and it's $15 per participant. We also offer private lessons on just an appointment by appointment, and those are $30 per hour. We also do offer beginning skateboard classes, which we have actually a set of classes that are going to be starting on July 10th, and they're every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., which is before the park is open. Let's see. We also have our Friday Night Lights program. Actually, let me give you some of the numbers of those skate class programs. We have an average of 7 skateboarders that enter into our seasonal beginning skateboard classes. We have an average of 4 participants per week for our drop-by instruction, and I'm not exactly sure what the total amount of numbers is that we've done for private lessons. We also offer a program we call Friday Night Lights. That's a program that we introduced in 2006. We have an approximate average of 18 youth and 5 adult that show up to each one of these. We do this event the last Friday of every month, and it's from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And what we do is we show some skateboard videos on a large projection screen, and we have the local Domino's Pizza that donates some pizzas, and we give the kids pizza. We also have our traveling skate camp, which is a pretty successful program that we started back in 2008, I believe. Last year we had a total of 40 participants in the 4 weeks that we offered the camp. It's $205 per participant, and we are actually starting those. We start those July 18th, and they're going to go through August 12th this year, and it's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's basically like a daycare for skateboarders. And we travel to other skate parks, and we also piggyback on our day camp in Verdugo Park. And on Wednesdays, we go to like Magic Mountain, Disneyland, Raging Water, stuff like that with them. And right now, currently for our upcoming summer program of the travel skate camp, I currently have 28 kids signed up right now, and I'm expecting all of our numbers to probably max out this summer. It's a very, very popular program. We also do film permits at the skate park. This year, just to name a few, we've done a TV show called Bones, which is on Fox. We also we've done a Hasbro commercial, and we've also done a Target photo shoot with Shaun White You might also have seen him in the Olympics, and he was there, and they were doing a photo shoot with him. It was pretty cool, pretty exciting. We've done our teen equinox. We had our 6th annual teen equinox this year. We put the equinox together with our anniversary, basically our anniversary celebration. And this year was our 7th year of the skate park being open. And at the teen equinox, I had approximately 39 skaters that showed up and participated in the game of skate. We had another approximately 50 kids that were watching as spectators. I had a best trick contest, and there was 30 kids that participated in that. And we also had a battle of the bands with Ross's stage from the Civic, and that was a pretty cool event. We had 5 local bands that signed up for that. International Go Skateboarding Day is actually tomorrow. We're going to be throwing a skateboarding contest tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. So if you guys are interested, bring out your pads, bring out your board.
That's okay.
But it's really cool. I have 4 major sponsors for this one. Billy's Board Shop up in Montrose. They're giving us a bunch of in-kind donations. Donkey's Skateboards, he's giving us some in-kind donations. Echelon Snowboards, and Egram Clothing. Last year we had 24 kids that entered in that contest. This year I plan to have somewhere about the same. And I think last year we had around 30 to 50 spectators for the event also. This last calendar year we had, we had 24 accidents that I submit the accident reports to the state every year because they want to keep a record of it. And I submitted 24 to them. Of those 24, 10 injuries were serious where medical attention was needed without EMT response, and 1 accident was serious enough to need immediate medical attention from the Glendale Fire Department. The fiscal impact, you guys, if you have it in front of you, you can see our total expenditures were $146,000. Total expenditures from the enterprise fund was $11,000. Total revenue from the skate park last year was $39,806. Let's see.
Does that include the films?
Yes, that does include the filming. Last year we made it $15,720 off of filming.
Yeah, that's the highest.
But that number's very inconsistent because they come to us. We can't really go out and get them. But our name is out there, and they do like to use our park for filming, which is a really good thing. And then in participation in the last 12 months, we've had 12,890 people. The average monthly attendance is 1,100 people, of which approximately 620 of them are unduplicated participants. Of those 620 participants, it is estimated that approximately 465 are under the age of 18. The average daily attendance is 40 people. We mostly have ages 10 to 20-year-olds that use the skate park, and the adult skaters usually come in the evening from between the hours of 4 to 10, and our highest attendance is on the weekends. And the quick background of the skate park is we opened in April 17th, 2004. It's a 15,000 square foot facility. We have 2 deep bowls. One of them is a 6 to 9 foot clover bowl. It has 11 foot oververt pocket. And I've seen you at the skate park many times. So you've seen.
Are you jealous?
Look at you.
And
What's your favorite trick?
and
That was one of the injuries.
and we have a 6 to 10 foot kidney bowl. We also have a snake run and a street course. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer the best of my ability.
The traveling skate camp, you mentioned it's real popular.
Yes.
Could you add another week or two to it and fill it?
Yes. We kind of wanted to stick with what we had right now because we weren't too sure with like what was going on with the budget. So we kind of wanted to stick with what worked last year.
Okay. So once the budget was kind of determined.
There's definitely room for expansion, yes.
Okay.
The only comment or question I would have is, I think that as a commission, and I'm sure Jess also, we're always looking for other ways to get more revenue. I know that we've talked about sponsorships with signs at the sports complex and at the skate park. Any ideas you have, I think we'd be open to hearing, or Jess would be open to hearing about and bringing them to us.
Okay.
Because, you know, that's just the time I think we live in right now.
Yeah. Well, in case you guys didn't know, there are other skate parks in other cities. For instance, one of them is Lake Forest. This company called Soul Technologies, which makes S shoes, Etnies shoes, and another shoe company. They own these 3 shoes, and they actually decided that they wanted to build this skate park for the city to run, and they named it the Etnies Skate Park of Lake Forest. So there are options out there, and I don't know what the revenue that they're actually getting from that, but that facility is. I was there a couple weeks ago, and it's still free.
Good.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, nice report.
Item 6B3, Bicycle Master Plan Update. I'd like to call up Fred Soravand. He's a planner with Public Works.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Fred Zoravan. I'm project manager for new operating bicycle master plan. And thank you for having me here today. And
You want me to do it?
the reason I'm here because about our last bicycle master plan was updated in 1994. I apologize for the typo over there. It's not 2006. And it's not the bestseller. You know, this is the old one that we have here. So it's been a while that we had, updated our bicycle plan. And due to the land uses and changes in the city, and demand for the bicycle facility, we decided to go ahead and update it. The updated bicycle master plan started in December 2010 by, obtaining about $145,000 fund from the Metro, which none of them is come from the city fund. And then the first step of bicycle master plan was, the purpose was creating a network of the bicycle route that people can use for the commuting and also for recreation, and also connecting the centers of the city with a priority, and also neighboring cities. And we're working with LA County, this is City of LA, to create a connectivity of bicycle facility. And that's the way that we are going to, and I'm here to give you an update of what's happening since then. The action that we take, we hire a well-known person named, Ryan Snyder. He's very famous. He has done, over 50 bicycle master plan for different cities. He started our bicycle master plan and helping the staff to develop a new plan. And the second step was the creating a bicycle advisory committee. Bicycle advisory committee consisted of 10 people from staff, and also variety people from different section of the city that you can see from Chamber of Commerce, college, homeowner association, TMA, and also bicycle coalition, and anywhere that we can find, somebody invited to be there, okay? We have about 31 members in our BAC, and they're very active, enthusiasm, and come over and meet almost every month. community outreach, we plan about five of them, and the first one happened on, I believe it was in March 31st. Do you have it there? Yeah. Oh, that's another mistake on me. March, and over 50 people attended there, and it was very well received, receiving the input, the comment. And the next step that we did so far is that the task that we started and we progressed and that we made is that we surveyed all of this in the city of Glendale road and the street and find out which street and road really have potential for bicycle route. And then we surveyed all of the bicycle user and cyclists and also pedestrian in the city of Glendale. We developed a draft of the bicycle route, which is in a draft version of it. I can't really tell you, and we submitted to the BAC, and BAC had a comment on it, and we are in process and looking at the feasibility of those routes. And after we look at the feasibility and we look at the constructability of the route. We don't want to go and create a plan and put it on shelf and say, okay, he's not going to be able to build it. So that's, at this point, we are looking at those routes and make sure that makes sense, and then we take it back to the BAC and community, and they can get their input again and come back to Commissioner. And at the same time, we are not waiting for finishing the bicycle master plan. Any program come to the city, we take advantage of it and do any bike route and we can in the city of Glendale. I can tell you 3 examples as part of the CIP for city of Glendale and city improvement. We put bike route on Glennox Boulevard, on Foothill Boulevard, and the Santa Carlota Avenue in North Glendale. There's a lot of share roads going on in the city. The share road is a sign telling the vehicles there's a bicycle, be careful and pay attention. A lot of stuff going on. In addition to that, we are started the citywide bike racks, which are going to install bike racks for the entire city. And the map at the end of the page is showing the. You go to the last page, please. This is, I think your program, your map is showing better than that. These are the streets that candidate for the bike racks, and we do it on demand and also on the street that we think it's good to have them. And schedule, from the schedule point of view, we started, last year late. Mm-hmm. Sure. On the street, mostly in front of the businesses and the places that they go to. But these are the streets that they can use bike racks. Yes, study we done and can use it. Yes. No problem, sir. And we're going to continue with the BAC and community meeting in July and August, and also present our first draft bicycle map to the TPC and Commissioner and Planning Commission yourself too in August 2011. We are going to incorporate all of the comment we get from community in September, and BAC is going to meet on September for last time, and we're planning to present a bicycle master plan to council in September, probably, maybe even in October. I'm not sure that's going to happen. And then we incorporate all of the comments, and we are hoping by January 2012 we take it to council and get their blessing for the plan. At one page, I provided a table that's showing you what happened and basically what facility we have created since the last October. There's a lot of share here, bike lane, bike routes, and also, as I said, Our citywide bike racks is going to start in July of this year, and we already hired a contractor to do that for us. At this time, I would like to answer any question you might have, and
Anybody?
Yeah.
Right after that map, existing bus,
Mm-hmm.
some of the six locker,
Yeah.
8 locker,
Mm-hmm.
6 bike.
Yes, these are done.
Boulevard, that's the same. These are
Glenox Boulevard, actually, are you talking about the
drives on
those are the bike route, is not a, those are already done as far as the bike route, class 2 bike routes. In residential area, we don't usually put, but on Glenox is going to be candidate for the bike tracks too.
I don't see, I live in Windsor.
Sure.
There is no route on that. Any other boulevard?
Those are in a plan, and if you look at the map, there is all the route that are candidate for the bicycle racks are here, but this is not by all means finalized. We're working on it, and we would be more than glad to receive any comment and add it to it,
Because Mr. Conrad, yeah, I want to say something.
Absolutely, absolutely. We would love to see that.
So would I.
Based on our earlier discussions about budget, where's the money coming to do most of this?
Most of this project for bicycle money totally is on grant. We don't spend even 1 penny of the city to this project. We're going aggressively after grant.
Have you considered, especially for the downtown area, like a shared bicycle program where you could have some type of bicycles available for people to use in the downtown area instead of having to get in your car and drive up North Brand or drive down to South Brand? Something where if people signed up, like a program, they could do that and we would have bicycles available, some type of conceptual idea like that?
Commissioner Khan, is a very good question. On last Friday, a team of the City of Glendale staff and also our mayor were in Long Beach for the whole day riding bikes and see what was the facility they have. We are thinking about a similar facility they have for the city, started with the City of Glendale, for city staff, that they can borrow bicycle and go to the places that can go. And then we can expand that as well. That's a very good point, and I'm sorry I didn't.
And I know, based on the one BAC meeting that I went to, and Council Member Quintero presented there also, and he was at a convention, I guess you'd call it, in Seville, Spain, and they have a very good system like that, and I know that he, for one, is all for coming up with some kind of a system like that.
Actually, on Friday we were in Long Beach. One of the council member was with him, in that trip, and he said the same expression, the same idea. The thing is that we have to look at what liability is included for city, and we're looking into that.
And I think that what they're talking about is there are private companies that actually will provide the lockers, provide the bikes, and then you pay a fee to the private company, and just like they do up in San Francisco on the zip cars, same idea, but just with bicycles.
Exactly. One of the issues that we're facing that it came out in Long Beach is that they are taking parking in a very crowded area, business area, and change it to the bicycle park. And they take 2 parking spots. And the reason is that it said, the money that this bicycle is created for the merchant is much higher than 2 cars. They park there and spend money. It was interesting. And also, our mayor is very pro bicycle. She was there with us, and she rode 8 hours of bicycle. was a really fun day to see all of this stuff.
So you guys will incorporate some of that you learned on Friday into this?
Absolutely,
as well?
absolutely. We're going very far. We're going out of box, yeah.
Good, great.
Thank you very much. Good
Very
report.
Thank you.
You have a good day. Thank you for having me here.
And what is next?
Item 6B4, monthly activity reports at A, Park Services.
Commissioners, President Rockfogel, my name is Gary Morello. I'm the Park Services Administrator for the City of Glendale. And I was going to give a small presentation, but the color on the screen does not really match what I'm going to show, so I'm going to leave that for the next time through.
Darn.
I know. It upsets you terribly. But just a few things we have been doing. Now that it's spring, although it's hard to tell with June gloom, our famous June gloom, but we are checking irrigations, and all the saving measures that we adopted last year for water are still in place. So I've been able to reduce utilities by a couple $100,000 almost the last 2 years. And I think it's got to do with water, because that's what I use most of. Electricity and gas is negligible, but the water is what seems to be the driving force. And with all the stuff that we've done over the course of the last 2 years, I think it's actually coming to fruition right now. So that's a good deal there. The ball fields, the Angelinos were quite a bit of work over at Stengel, but we've got them, I guess, running fairly well. And we've done a lot of improvements. If you haven't been to Stengel, you should go out and see it. It's a whole lot different than it was a year ago, 6 months ago. The last thing here we're doing is voluminous amounts of tree work. With all the growth and all the spring rains and all the winter rains we had, I've got trees going down pretty much everywhere. All my open spaces are dropping on people's backyards, unfortunately. So I'm out there removing trees as I can. They're just coming out of the ground. We get some wind, we get all this rain and all this growth. Also in the park system, we try to find areas in the park that we can actually designate as an area that's maybe dangerous or could be dangerous, and we go ahead and we try to do those trimming. We try to do that around April or May, just before the summer season really gets going, so we can protect the public as much as possible with the walkways and the driveways and the parking lot areas. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, that's it.
No? We'll expect music next month.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stengel Field does look good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What is next?
6B, 4B, Recreation and Community Services.
Hello, President Rockfogel and Commissioners. Joanne Vendito, the Acting Administrator, and I'd like to give you just a brief report. Our report is very small this month, but the first item that you have has the Customer Service Office regarding registrations from February through April. And as you see, you're going to see a lot of phone-in registration on that chart. A lot of phone-in registration compared to fax-in, mail-in, walk-in, or internet registration. We were going to try to have a report for you that had to do with our website, that had to do with our leisure guide, that had to do with registrations. We somewhat put that off because we were involved in budget cuts, and some of our funding may be cut in some areas, so we have to come back and take a look and put that report together, and it's somewhat of a different way to demonstrate to you how we do registrations, the importance of the internet, how we use the website. We want to kind of incorporate it all so it's one big package rather than just isolating registrations for you. So that's what's coming up either in July or possibly August if we do not go dark, or September based on how our budget plays itself out. Another item that is not in this report, July is coming up, and July is really important to us in the field of recreation. It is National Park and Recreation Month, and it is also National Aquatics Month. So those are two really important events, and we try at our different recreation activities to bring that up, make sure that the community is aware of it. We'll talk about it sometimes with parents that are checking kids in for registration at their day camps and things, so people are aware this is an important month for the community service department that we are. I know Gabrielle briefly talked to you about the pool, but I wanted to just tell you what's going on with the pool. Attendance-wise, we've got approximately 50 kids going there every day after school. So school lets out, kids are there. We've got lap swimming going on at the same time as we have recreation swim, so the attendance is very good. And then there's approximately 100 on the weekends. So it's well attended. Lifeguards are kept very, 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 very busy to the point of we need to get more of them some breaks. So they're really doing a good job. They've stepped up. This week we started our aquatics training, and we are now going to be opening the Hoover Pool this next week. So even though we have a pool open, our aquatics training is officially going on this week with all types of activity for all of them as far as policies and procedures and how we're going to operate the pool at Hoover. So the Hoover community is excited about having the pool open there. We're very fortunate, and the principal is very supportive of the program, and so therefore we're excited to be coming on board with them starting on Monday. And then the last thing would be, before I do, is there any questions regarding the commission report? Because I'd like Ross to come up and talk about cruise night coming up.
What is the capacity of the pool?
250? 243. So summer isn't even here yet, and we're doing okay. I'm sure we'll do fine. Everyone who saw the opening, we had everyone hovering over that pool.
Those kids couldn't wait.
That's right. That's right.
Are we worried at all that we'll have, in terms of people having to wait extended periods of time to get into the pool? Or is that not really
Well,
something?
it is a possibility. It is the only pool. We will have, yes, we probably will, because we will end up with, we have swim lessons, and we have the two swim teams that we have, we have the water polo team and we have the swim team. Now, those are tiny pieces, and they're in kind of off hours, but the lessons consume a good portion. I think we're having rec swim at the same time. Oh, good, she's behind me. We'll let Gabrielle answer that question.
We do have a waiting period for people who were unable to sign up for the very first session of lessons, so they're waiting until later in the summer to be able to take the lessons at the time that they wanted. However, as I said earlier, we do still have some spaces available. It's just not the prime after work times that most of the parents really wanted. For recreation swim, however, I don't anticipate that we'll actually hit capacity on a regular basis. I think that on those really hot summer days, as we get towards the end of July and into August, we may have some days where we reach our capacity, and when the guards come off tower, they actually do a count of the people in the water. It's like counting ants, but they do it, and they try. And so as people leave, the next ones will be able to come in. So I actually worked at that pool years and years ago before it was torn out, and we reached capacity every now and then, and usually the wait was half an hour before someone was able to come in.
Oh.
And it was very few people waiting. So,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, nothing else. I'd like to introduce Ross Ferris, who's going to talk about cruise night, because we have it coming up. It'll be before our next commission meeting, so I thought that was important.
Ross Ferris, Community Services Manager. President Rothfogel, Commissioners. Cruise Night is just about 3 weeks away, and it's going to be held on Brand Boulevard on Saturday, July 16th from 5:30 to 10:30. The lead entertainment will be Paul Revere and the Raiders. We'll have some other cover groups at the main stage. That'll be at the corner of Milford and Brand Boulevard. We have a secondary stage, an award stage, at the corner of Wilson and Brand Boulevard. There we will have the Verdugo Swing Society will perform from 5:30 to 7, and after that we'll have a DJ playing oldies records. At 8:45 we'll have a trophy presentation of it's a People's Choice Awards. We have 11 trophies. We start with the mayor's trophy and go down and have sponsors' trophies toward the end. Presently, we have just about 300 cars registered. We have 13 or 14 sponsors at this point that will have booths on Brand Boulevard. And we have one very interesting that they came in. Friday was the cutoff, and the fellow came in last week, and they have perfected a talking car, so to speak. Those of you that remember the Knight Rider TV show where the car talked, they have an app that they put in an iPhone. They have a device that they put on the dashboard of a car, wired up to 2 small speakers, and the app in the iPhone, you can plug it into your dashboard and your car begins talking. It's geared for people between 17 and 30 years old. However, it should be a very, very interesting. Last year, we had over 50,000 people. And this year, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have just about that many. It's always hot, but it's always a great event, primarily because it's a great venue. We have 4 blocks of Brand Boulevard. The car owners can park their cars. The spectators can walk down the street. If you don't want to look at a classic car, you can go to a movie. You can go eat dinner. There's a variety of things to do. And one of the big benefits is if you want to go to a car show normally, it's in the daytime, so you're in the sun, etc. Once the sun goes down, which is pretty much after 6 o'clock, it's a very, very nice evening. It's a family event. The kids, we have lots of activities for kids. We'll have the climbing wall there. At the police display, they will have other kids' activities, and we have our own park and play truck and things at the corner of Broadway and Brand. So I encourage everyone to come out. It's going to be just a terrific event. The committee, we have been meeting every month since February. They have worked very hard to put together just a terrific event. Any questions? Okay. We'll see you there. Yes. 450. Yeah. Hey, good for you. Thank you very much. It is. It's a terrific event. Thanks.
Okay, what is next?
Item 7 is written communications. I don't have anything.
No CIP.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. 6B4C, CIP projects.
How quickly they forget. I mean,
this is my apologies.
This is the last hurrah, too,
this is your last meeting.
Apologies.
President Rothfogel.
Dave who?
Members of the commission. Dave Ahern. It's what happens when you upset Iris. You pay for it. Yeah.
Well, she's upset like we all are that you're leaving.
Well, thank you. Briefly, we've got a number of things going on in the CIP group. In fact, tonight we have a community meeting at Maple Park where we're doing outreach on the design for renovation of Palmer Park. We're submitting a grant application, the second round of state grants. This is our last meeting, and then we take a report to the council on the 28th with the concept design for renovation of that facility. And that's based entirely on community input, on what needs improving, what they'd like to see that isn't there, what they'd like done differently, what they want to have kept and improved. Again, it's only conceptual at this stage, and it's all dependent upon winning that state grant like we did for Maryland. So it's a very similar process involving the kids and the schools and parent groups and merchant associations and anybody who will talk to us, really. Mark Sturdivant has had the lead on this as he did on Maryland, and he does such a good job. Talented guy. Then we have a meeting on Riverwalk Wednesday night to go over some of the improvements on Riverwalk. There's been some concern about the height of the railing on the corrals. So there may have been a miscommunication on what people wanted. So we'll go out, meet with the community, and go back over it again. And there's an adjustment needed, then we'll bring it back to council. Some folks would like to see the railings a little higher on one of the rings, which would change the use of that ring. Unfortunately, the ring's already in, so it would be a change order to change it, but such is life. It won't be the first time we've had to change something. So the key is to get what people want and then get it into service. So John Peterson is the lead on that, and George Baltera is the senior project manager. He'll be helping John with that, and I'll be in the background trying not to get in the way. You, of course, all know that we just finished Pacific Park Pool. It's open to the public. It was a great job by Peter, Verheilig and Hagup and Sean, who were the project managers on that. And there's a lot of cleanup work now to do at the end, the punch list items and all the kinds of things that you don't know that are going to be a problem until you get into service. The paper towel dispensers, turned out the blades weren't deburred at the factory, so they were cutting off the towels inside the dispensers. So pull those out and get new ones and things like that you just have to fix. And lots of little things that still need touching up on the punch list, but wouldn't preclude us from opening the building and getting it into service. So that's all underway. There's some staff wishes for things that they've realized that they'd like to have that they didn't ask for before, so we're working on those. Additional seating, a hard cover for the winter, things like that. So we're working on all that. Maple Park will be opening next Saturday. We have the grand opening at 11 o'clock, and that park is just spectacular. Audrey Gulnazarian was the lead project manager along with George, and when you see that place, it is just spectacular. It was pretty rough before. I won't say it's a dungeon, but it was a first cousin to a dungeon before. So it's really come out spectacular, and they've done a great job. And the green design elements in it that Audrey's worked on and George has worked on, they've done a great job with it. So you'll be very proud of the work there. And that was also primarily grant funded. I think we have about $500,000 of general fund money, and the rest is a county and state grant and some CDBG money. Then we have Griffith Manor Park. That is essentially done. There's a few minor items to be cleaned up on that. A little bit of lighting, lots of little cleanup things. But nothing to prevent us from opening on July 1st, so the park will be in service for 4th of July weekend. That community has been without that park for 2 years. The first year because of the road widening for Public Works, and then the second year has been our project. And you won't recognize that park. It looks so nice, and it's going to give them a great facility that'll get a lot of use. Talked about Riverwalk already. That's in progress, should be completed the first phase in November. We're trying to get additional funding to get that next phase, which is that small bridge that goes over the Paula Drain. Not the big bridge into the park, but this connects phase 1 and phase 2. It's about a $400,000 expenditure with design and construction. Complicated entitlement process because it involves the Army Corps of Engineers, Caltrans, County Flood Control, City of Los Angeles, Flat Earth Society, just about everybody's involved in it. But in any event, hopefully we can get that going in some parklets that go with that, and then that would be a second phase of that. Stingle Field improvements, Gary staff has done a lot of work on that. Sean Toro from our staff has been coordinating most of the work. So there's a lot of improvements that have been done to that facility. It's a very tired building, and how long that building can go forward is a question. Perhaps another few years. But the field itself is great, and the other parts of it, so it'll still be available for baseball or soccer or whatever folks want there. The ARC Phase 2, we are going to award a contract, I believe, on the 28th to Hopkins Construction. They're the contractor on the ARC. This is to finish the park portion of it, the Great Lawn. And that's with modest improvements for picnicking and greenscape and all of that. So that, at most, will be a 90-day project. Probably take 6 to 8 weeks to build it, and then you need about 6 weeks to let that sod get established and take root. And then that'll go into service. So before the end of summer, we'll have that on board. Glendale High School tennis courts, Mr. Voltaire has been overseeing that. That's a joint use project with the Glendale School District. He has been out to bid on that. We are preparing, he are preparing a report to go to council to award the bid on that, and then that'll get constructed over the summer. It's about $1 million project. That'll put 6 tennis courts into pristine condition, add bathrooms and ADA accessibility improvements, lighting, all of that. So courts are currently in use. This will just bring them up to a higher standard and also make things handicap accessible, which they currently don't have that at present. Glorietta Playground replacement, we're getting quotes right now. You'll recall Glorietta was replaced almost 2 years ago, and about 9 months later it was the subject of vandalism and was burnt to the ground and burnt the drainage system underneath it as well. So we're going to be putting back the same playground equipment so that we don't have to change the footings because it's built over the reservoir, so it's more complicated installation. So hopefully we'll get quotes on that, start work in August, and we should have it done in about 30 days after we start. Maryland Park is in plan check, and as soon as we get out of plan check, we'll be going out to bid with that, so I expect we'll be out to bid on that in August. The Columbus soccer field EIR, we had a community meeting on that a few weeks ago. It has garnered a lot of attention. People have tremendous interest in that project, and we'll be taking that to the Environmental Planning Board to finalize the draft EIR and then taking it to council to make a decision. There's a lot of interest to have a soccer field. There's a lot of residents that live near it, within about 15 feet of it, actually, that aren't as excited about that location. So that'll be a tough decision to figure out. Verdugo Adobe restroom, we've been working on some design concepts for that and just about there with getting our costing for estimating, and then we'll take a concept plan to council sometime in July, and that'll be to convert the bathroom or the existing garage building into ADA accessible bathrooms, to do some path of travel improvements and things of that nature. So I know Commissioner Patrick's very interested in the timing on that, and our project manager, Lila Batar, is aware of that. So we'll coordinate that improvement with the user group and make sure we don't interfere with the holiday activities there. But it'll be nice to have really well-done bathrooms that are accessible. Right now, the only bathroom they really have is inside the Adobe, and it's really not meant to be used by the public. So that's underway. Car and Brand Park fencing is in design. George Balteri has been the lead on that, and we should have something pretty soon to go to bid, and we'll take a report to council, I would suspect, in August or September. And then on the Civic Auditorium, we've got some preliminary ideas, meeting with traffic on doing some traffic improvements there. The old traffic booth or ticket booth going in was hit by a truck and demolished, and just that whole layout doesn't really work well. So we've got some concept plans to reroute that traffic in and out and make it a little clearer as to how you access the traffic circulation in that whole facility, as well as signage and gate arms and alligator teeth for entries and exits, things like that, so we can control it and manage a little better. Maple Park, the opening on that is this Saturday. There's a second phase that appears we're going to have funding for from block grant, and that's to redo the lighting in the park, the irrigation, and the lot of the turf is in need of replacement. It's tremendous amount of use, so we'll start designing on that. We're also look like we'll get block grant funding for redoing the lighting and playground at Car Park, so that may be a second phase after the fencing or concurrent with that. Pacific Plaza greening, which is the last piece of that pool project. As part of the pool, we did a concept design that's in the works right now for greening up the rest of the plaza. We greened up part of it with the pool project. So we'll probably finish that in July and then bring a concept to council and then see if we can secure funding to finish greening up that plaza. And that needs to be a separate project from the pool. It's kind of counterintuitive. The greening would require the use of more water, and that would take away from the lead points for the project. So right now, the pool, as you know, is on track for gold lead certification, possibly a platinum certification. So we keep our fingers crossed for that. That would be one of the first, I think, in the nation, certainly in the state. The Palmer renovation, I told you a little bit about that. And then we have a couple of future projects that we've got to get back on track with, and that's the campground planning grant and the 2 trail designs that we have a grant for, the Catalina Verdugo Trail and the Mountain Dew Trail, both at the sports complex. The Mountain Dew Trail is an ADA accessible trail, and Catalina Verdugo Trail is a little more challenging trail that will allow for a lot more of the fitness exercise programs that we want. So that's what staff has been up to, and that's what they're going to be up to. Right, George? There you go. So that's what I know about that, and I'll answer any questions.
Glorieta Park,
Yes.
the playground equipment that was vandalized, are we getting any financial assistance from the parents of the kids who burned the equipment?
I know legal has been in contact with the parents and that, so I assume that at some point there'll be some type of repayment of that. In the meantime, we're going to move forward and just find a funding source, and that's been the holdup. So we're going to transfer some money out of a bathroom project and get that playground back into service.
Good.
And then
Okay, thanks.
let the other part, let the
Yeah.
attorneys take care of it.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
What time is the meeting tonight?
We're meeting from 6 to 7:30, and we're going to be at Maple Park. And so we hope to have a good turnout. These meetings have been a little more challenging to get participation in. That's why we've worked with the schools so much to go to established groups, but we still have the general community meetings as well. Everyone's welcome.
Your function is coming up.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Don't
true.
I have
forget
my
that.
$5. I'm ready.
Excellent, excellent. On June 29th, from 5 to probably 7:30 or 8, or until they throw us out, we'll be at the Alex Theater. The Glendale Management Employees Association is hosting a mixer, and they're giving me a send-off as I retire from the city of Glendale. And in lieu of a retirement gift, we're asking folks to make a small donation. All the money collected will be given to the Glendale Youth Alliance to help fund summer jobs for kids in our community. They had their funding cut, so they're doing lots of different things, so this is a way to help them out. So come by. We have a taco truck coming, beer and wine, in modest amounts, I'm sure, in moderation.
Exactly. Looking forward to it.
And so that'll be a fun night. I know you guys have busy schedules, but it'll be fun, and it'll be one of those things. I think the rule is no speeches unless you make a $100 donation, so that should make it go quickly.
Good rule.
That's a smart
It should limit the pool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I won't be able to be there. I will be spending that 2-week period with my in-laws on the East Coast.
Oh.
So we're looking forward to that. But so personally, I'd like to say goodbye to you now and
Thank you.
look forward to possibly working with you on my bridge
Absolutely.
from the Griffith Park over to the bike path. And I think that'll be a great joint project between our two cities. And I'm for one, I'm going to miss your guidance and look forward to working with you maybe in the future.
Thank you, Steve.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Oh, and I'll have a donation for you after the meeting for the.
Because he considers that a speech.
I did.
That's $100.
Good point.
But it was not a
That was a
$100.
speech. That's right.
You're out of order.
Sorry.
What is next?
Item 7, written communications. I don't have any. 8, adjournment.
We are adjourned.